It was nice to get out here, get out to our community. We got a lot of hand waves, a lot of honks, everything.
Tonight on News Watch, it's not your first typical ride to first period. We'll have more on the message some local high schoolers shared this morning coming up.
Plus, Walmart announces a major settlement with several states, including Illinois. We'll have the details. Scott.
Good evening. Beautiful spring-like weather today, near record temperatures for most, but a winter whiplash could be just around the corner. This is News Watch. Your Friday evening edition is next.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.
This morning looked a little different in the Charleston High School parking lot, and that's our top story tonight. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Bennett.
And I'm Matt Williamson. Instead of just cars and trucks, some students found a different route to school.
Newswatch's Rashad Jones has more on a tradition students tell us is less about horsepower and more about hometown pride.
It's not every day students have to find parking spots this big. And it's most certainly not every day the morning sounds like a construction zone at Charleston High School. But senior FFA student Blake Moore says today, that's exactly what happened.
So the event we did today was just a tractor drive. We just went around and we hit all the elementary schools, just made one big lap. It was just cool to get out here and get to show off our equipment and take a ride around town, which we don't get to do a lot.
Today marks the end of National FFA Week, and with it, CHS hosted their annual Drive Your Tractor to School Day.
It was nice to get out here, get out to our community. We got a lot of hand waves, a lot of honks, everything.
It's a fun day for us. We get to hang out and bring our tractors all to school.
FFA students drove their tractors all around town today, including on Lincoln Avenue right behind me. The route included passing every elementary school in the area for the kids to see. Charleston Ag teacher Ben Oakley knows that events like this help show people how important agriculture is to our way of life.
If we all like to eat, we all like to wear clothes, we like to drive vehicles, we like to have landscape plants. I mean, ag is ag, food, natural resources. Sometimes I challenge my students, find me something that's not ag related, and then we'll have a conversation of why it is.
At the end of the day, Charleston FFA Treasurer Madison Easton says it's all about the kids and giving them an up-close look at what agriculture is all about.
Our next generation is the next generation. They're going to be our leaders in our community. I think it's important that we start those agriculture foundations and foundations for anything. I think that it's important that students now and kids more now than ever have those opportunities given to them and they fully understand what is available for them as they're getting older.
Reporting in Charleston, I'm Rashad Jones for WEIU Newswatch.
FFA Week has been around since 1947 to honor George Washington's legacy as an agriculturalist and farmer. Now, more than 1 million members across the country celebrate the week every February.
Good evening. Beautiful conditions this afternoon. Somebody out there set a record. Let's go to the big board and see who it was. Of course it was Taylorville, wasn't it? 71 degrees? No, not a record. The record still stands at 74 from the year 1976. And the same thing can be said for Decatur. 69 was not a new record, but down in Effingham with their 69, they have set the all-time record for February 27th. The old record goes away. It was a 64 in 2009. Just a couple of years ago in Charleston, we had a 75-degree temperature, But look on the bright side. It was minus 15 on this date in Charleston in 1934. We're doing okay. Now let's go back to the news desk.
All right, thanks for that, Scott. A state commission is taking a closer look at the history of racial injustice in Illinois. The Illinois African Descent Citizens Reparations Commission released its first report on how slavery harmed the state and continues to create inequity for Black Illinoisans today. The state says the ADCRC partnered with the University of Illinois Chicago's Institute for Research on Race and Public Policy to examine how state policies have created imbalanced racial opportunity over time. The report identifies 9 categories of harm to Black Illinoisans: enslavement and servitude, racial terror, political disenfranchisement, stolen economic labor, policing and the legal system, housing, education, families, and health. The organization says the purpose of the report is to document how those 9 categories continue to cause harm today and encourage reparative action. Illinois officials are announcing a multi-million-dollar settlement with Walmart over the company's Spark Driver Delivery Program. Attorney General Kwame Raoul says the company will pay out $100 million as part of the bipartisan settlement with 11 states and the Federal Trade Commission. Now, Raoul says Walmart's Spark program deceived delivery drivers and failed to disclose key details for incentives. The largest chunk of the settlement goes directly to drivers, including $1.1 million to Illinois drivers. Walmart will also pay $1.1 million to Illinois directly and will set up a driver fund to pay additional claims. Pork sold at a local store is being recalled over undeclared allergens. The Illinois Department of Agriculture says some pork sold at Fresh International Market in Champaign contains wheat and it's not declared on the product label. The meat from Gourmet Trends Kitchen, labeled pork belly for grilling, was produced on various dates over the last year. The IDOA reminds consumers to check their freezers for the product. If you have any of the pork, you're advised to return it or contact Gourmet Trends.
A Toledo woman is accused of stealing from a local organization. The Cumberland County Sheriff's Office says deputies arrested 53-year-old Tanaya Craig of Toledo on Wednesday. The office says she's accused of theft worth between $10,000 and $100,000. Officials say she stole from the Toledo American Legion Auxiliary. A Champaign County community is clearing the way for new development. The Village of Savoy says they plan to begin demolition for their downtown redevelopment project Monday. They say that will involve demolishing buildings in the area bounded by Dunlap Avenue, Wesley Avenue, Church Street, and Main Street. City leaders say the demolition should wrap up by mid-May. State officials say they're making progress on improving crosswalks for people with vision or hearing disabilities. The Illinois Department of Transportation says it's now halfway to its goal of updating crosswalk signals to make them more accessible for pedestrians. Accessible pedestrian signals provide clear cues through things like audible tones and voices, vibrations, and high visibility signs. IDOT now has installed nearly 2,700 APS systems statewide. The department began the updates in 2016 and looks to complete the effort by 2041.
Good evening. Welcome back to weather. And you know, we spoke earlier about the record or near record high temperatures today. Well, of course, it's swimming season starting tomorrow at Lake Sarah, where the water temperature today was 42 degrees. Tomorrow, they're doing the polar plunge for Special Olympics right here in the water. Please go all the way under. Make it official. And you'll have plenty of room if you just want to spectate on these wonderful bleachers. So how do we get to tomorrow? We look at, first of all, the overnight. We have clearing, strong neutral winds. By that I mean we don't have the north winds coming down. We don't have the south winds coming up to warm. We just kind of stay unaffected for the most part, with lows near 37 degrees and wind gusts at 35 miles an hour, which could have been really interesting had we had different wind directions. Tomorrow, we have sunny early and then high temperatures near 59 degrees, and then even more drama, likely rain showers. And there's an asterisk there with that. I'll explain that in just a moment. Now, we start out in the 40s, and then we get into the 50s for most of the afternoon. This is what it's going to look like tomorrow as far as our skies. Futurecast shows us that late in the morning, some precipitation is moving in from the west. It covers virtually the entire area. Now, here's where the asterisk comes in. What is this? This is the pink stuff and maybe a little bit of purple up there as well. And this is the possibility of some ice where the temperatures are a little bit cooler. We think it's more likely to be in the form of sleet, not necessarily ice, but it could get a little messy. It moves down a little bit, and we still have the precipitation in the form of rainfall going on through the late afternoon. Eventually, the skies do clear. We leave that stuff for our good friends in Indiana, and we move on to a new day and more weather through the weekend. This is where the winter whiplash comes in. It looks harmless as you look at the daytime temperatures. Partly sunny on Sunday, high of 41, and Monday, what's that say? Early overnight snow, then rain. The potentially interesting part is reading between the lines, the overnight, where the temperatures will be in the upper 20s, maybe near 30, and this is what happens from midnight on. The possibility of some snowfall moving into the area. Most of it stays to the south. There's a little bit of concern about ice for the southern portions of the viewing area, but then we do have clearing. We do need the precipitation. Goodness knows we're still in a state of drought for the entire viewing area. And as we look ahead to the 7-day forecast, do we see precipitation? I believe we do. It's a good chance that we'll have a wet week for the first consistent time in a long time, including the possibility of some heavy rainfall toward the middle of the week. And look at our temperatures, pretty much above average, especially moving toward the end of the 7-day period. And then as we look ahead even a little bit more, and our confidence is not as great in week 2 of this, shall we say, 14-day forecast, we're going to have continued warm temperatures, which should take us to mid-March.
Yeah, well, Scott, I'll tell you why. I'm totally down with that. Love the warmer temperatures for sure.
I am so excited. You guys know I hate the cold. I'm excited. Well, thank you, Scott. Still to come tonight, one Illini hockey player hits quite the milestone just as the season wraps up.
Both my parents are immigrants. They kind of have that immigrant mentality where, they work for everything, and they've instilled that in myself.
We'll have more on what he says makes his achievement so special. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU.
I'm Larry Smith, second-generation EIU Panther and a proud alum of the WEIU program. For nearly 4 decades, I've had the privilege of reporting on some of the biggest stories of my generation, from getting to know so many East Central Illinoisans to a quarter-century on the anchor desks at CNN Sports and Turner Sports, covering major events worldwide, championship celebrations, and even presidential inaugurations. It's been a career that has far exceeded even my wildest dreams. One that would not have been possible without WEIU, which finds itself in peril. Recent legislation in Washington took away the program's federal funding. So on their behalf, I'm asking you to consider making a donation. WEIU is one of the best training grounds in the nation for students who have a passion for journalism, broadcasting, radio, TV production, and they're worth your gift. You can find more info at weiu.net. Thank you in advance for your gift.
After 4 years and more than 90 games, one Illini hockey player is joining a new club. With just 1 weekend left in the season, he says this is an accomplishment he'll never forget.
Both my parents are immigrants. They kind of have that immigrant mentality where, they work for everything, and they've instilled that in myself.
Illini forward Greg Attingan's parents tell him he first picked up a hockey stick at age 4.
Just starting off, not even skating, just sprinting around the ice and giving my mom a heart attack.
They say he was a little on the competitive side.
There was one story telling me how, my team started losing, and I kind of started freaking out on the ice, and they had to come down and calm me down, so that was probably really fun for them.
That was my second one of the year. 18 years after he hit the ice, that drive has taken him far. You're looking at the newest Illini member of the 100-point club. He says after losing a quarter of his collegiate play time to injuries, this milestone is extra special.
Especially going to this year, I didn't know if I was going to be able to play at all, or how much if I was going to be able to play. And so my whole mentality was just enjoy every single day, whether it's a practice, whether it's a game. I kind of treat it like it's my last.
And he's carrying that mindset into his final game this weekend. That's right, he's graduating from the University of Illinois after this season and tossing in the puck.
I'm an emotional guy, so it tends to come out, and especially when you're on the ice and when it all does come to a close at that last buzzer, I know the emotions will overcome me.
Hey, no better guy for that to happen to.
But he says hockey is a part of who he is, and he hopes to foster that same excitement as a mentor or coach for the next generation of 100-point scorers.
I remember waking up at 5 a.m. on a school day and waking my parents up to drive me to a morning practice and just being so excited about it. And so I see a lot of myself in them, and it keeps me young as well.
Atinkin says he couldn't have scored 100 career points without the support of his parents, sister and brother, and Illini coaches and teammates. Illini hockey plays at Cincinnati tonight at 7 and then again tomorrow night at 7. Coming up tonight in sports, Eastern Illinois men's basketball fights to stay alive in the conference playoff race, and U of I men's basketball looks to pick up a statement victory under the Friday night lights. Sports Watch's Austin Perez will have the full report right after this. Thanks for watching. This is News Watch on WEIU.
He's like a huge movie star.
Are there any gay hockey players?
None that have said it publicly.
The creator of Heated Rivalry says season 2 of the romantic hockey drama will arrive as soon as humanly possible. Jacob Tierney told Gayle King, "We're writing it now and getting ready to start shooting this summer," with an expected premiere in April 2027 on Canadian streamer Crave and HBO Max.
I was hired by Barnaby and Sally to complete the unfinished Christophers.
And what makes you think that you could do it?
I guess that's where the art of it comes in.
Oh, pooh.
Michaela Cole and Ian McKellen star in director Steven Soderbergh's The Christophers, about an art restorer and former forger assigned to complete 8 paintings by a legendary artist without his knowledge. This is the first trailer for the film, which opens in New York and LA April 10th and in wide release April 17th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
Entering last night, EIU's men's basketball was on its last gasp. A loss and a win by Tennessee Tech would have eliminated the Panthers, but when it mattered most, Eastern delivered, upsetting Lindenwood 71-67 and picking up a massive win. And it gets even better. Tennessee Tech lost as well, moving the Panthers back inside the projected OVC playoff picture. EIU now needs a win or the Golden Eagles to lose to make it to Evansville. And even if neither scenario happens, the Panthers still get in with a Little Rock loss and a Tennessee State win. As for the EIU women's team, they pick up their 26th loss of the season. The Panthers started off flat-footed, letting up a 13-0 run, and fell in the end to the Lions 80-43. Eastern now carries a 6-game losing streak, having only won 4 games total this season. EIU's postseason hopes are depleted, and its final matchup of the year is tomorrow against SIUE. Basketball wasn't the only thing Panther Nation was caught up in. EIU softball has quite the matchup on hand as they start their run in the Arizona State Grand Canyon Tournament. The Panthers' defense was on point, shutting out UC Riverside 2-0, and they just started against number 24 Arizona State. And at last check, they're winning 3-0. As for EIU baseball, they start their weekend on the road against Northern Kentucky for a 3-game series. This game turned into a pitcher's duel and went to extra innings, but in the end, the North scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 10th to seal a victory. The Panthers will get back to work tomorrow against NKU at 1. At the high school level, the season is nearing its end for a handful of local girls basketball teams, but not for the Teutopolis, as Wooden Shoes take down Paris 40-30. Up next for T-Town, they'll be taking on Breeze Central in the Super Sectionals round on Monday. Cumberland's season came to a close after falling to Mount Pulaski by 1 point, 37-36. And as for the boys basketball side of things, there is a ton of action tonight. Number 2 seeded KZ Westfield will be playing number 3 seed Cumberland. Number 1 seed Tuscola will be playing number 4 seed Windsor Stu Strass. Leroy is also a number 1 seed, and they'll be facing number 5 seeded Hayworth. Muhammad Seymour will be playing Champaign Centennial, And finally, Tolono Unity will square off against Maroa Forsyth. Actually, and finally, number 1 seeded Teutopolis has number 5 seeded Newton on tap. All games are set to tip off tonight at 7. Fans have made their voices heard. As early as noon today, fans were already waiting outside of State Farm Center in anticipation for the exciting matchup between 10th ranked U of I men's basketball and number 3 Michigan. After last Saturday's road OT loss to UCLA, Illinois is in hard search of redemption against a bigger fish in the Big Ten pond. Before last week's loss to Duke, Michigan had only dropped a single conference matchup against Wisconsin. Illinois is no stranger to big wins this year, having earned victories over Purdue, Nebraska, and Texas Tech. Tonight's matchup is tipping off in less than an hour at 7, and we'll have a full recap on Monday. Meanwhile, in the NBA, the Chicago Bulls are colder than the North Pole and look to pick up their only win of February as they host Jeremy Grant and the Portland Trail Blazers. Early in this one, Matas Buzelis intercepts the pass and glides to the basket for a powerful two-hand slam. But the Blazers wanted in on the Duncan action, and of course they did. And this ridiculous pass under the basket from Chris Murray to Grant leads to another big slam. And if you wanted in on the new piece of art in your household, Tumani Kamara is happy to help as he puts Leonard Miller on a poster to stun the Chicago crowd. But then it's Miller time as he gets his revenge and soars in for the reverse dunk to keep the Bulls in this game. In the end, however, Grant and the Blazers were too much for Chicago, and Portland wins 121-112. With the loss, the Bulls officially go winless in February. You heard that right, folks, and have lost 11 straight contests. Moving to the ice, after coming off a tough shutout loss to Columbus, the Chicago Blackhawks head to Nashville to face the Predators. Facing off in the first, clean up in aisle 5, the Chicago defense lets up an early error in the back, and Philip Forsberg isn't missing this one as the Preds strike first. In the second period, who else but star center Connor Bedard to bring in some hope for the Hawks with a simple capture and score. We're in the final period, and Chicago has a power play and strikes from near half. The shot's blocked, but fellow Canadian Tyler Bertuzzi puts home the rebound to take the lead. But it just wasn't enough, as Nashville gets 3 late goals to leave the home crowd something to cheer about. Chicago will get tonight off before facing a 3rd straight road test in Colorado tomorrow night at 5. Next week, baseball is being brought to the world stage, and one of the favorites have announced their schedule. Team USA will be set to play out the Classic pool phase in Houston, with their first game being against Brazil March 6th. They'll also take on Great Britain, Mexico, and Italy. Additionally, former EIU pitcher Kai Hampton will be suiting up for Team Australia. Finally tonight, the second round of the PGA Tour's Cognizant Classic is nearing completion, and a surprise name remains on top. Former SMU standout and first-round leader Austin Smotherman continues to impress and leads by 3 at halfway mark. Smotherman has just 1 career top 5 finish on tour and is turning heads nationwide. Former winner Taylor Moore is the closest chaser at 8 under par. And that's all for sports tonight. Matt, back to you.
All right, thanks, Austin. Still to come, Scott Ely returns for a final check of the Skywatch forecast. But first, we'll head under the sea for some stunning scenes. Thanks for watching. This is Newswatch on WEIU. And finally tonight, photographers from around the world are being honored for helping us see beneath the surface. Australian photographer Maddie Smith has been named Underwater Photographer of the Year for 2026 for his photo of 2 elephant seal pups taken on the Falkland Islands. The contest included photographers from around the globe. Organizers say the competition recognizes the artistry, diversity, and conservation efforts of underwater photographers. Well, after a pretty picture-perfect weather day today, Scott Ely is back with a final check of the Skywatch forecast.
And as you're looking at that 7-day forecast, not only do we have the polar plunge in Effingham tomorrow when it's still relatively warm for this time of year, but on Sunday, the students at Eastern will be taking the polar plunge at the pond on the campus of Eastern Illinois University. You can see the pond in this picture.
Yeah, definitely excited for that, Scott. Well, for more news and weather, be sure to log on to our website at WEIU.net, and there you'll find real-time forecasts and the news video of the day.
And if news is happening in your community, let us know by dropping an email at news@weiu.net.
Have a nice night.
Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon. Whatever the occasion, it's an environment for an evening of dining, conversation, and cocktails. Whatever your needs, our staff is ready. Alamo Steakhouse and Saloon, located at the Cross County Mall, Mattoon.
The Charleston House proudly supports Newswatch. Now welcoming guests on Charleston's historic 6th Street, the Charleston House Bed and Breakfast Inn offers refined accommodations in a beautifully restored bed and breakfast. For booking information, visit craigcollection.com or call the number on screen.
TCI Realty, Charleston area's real estate connection. Commercial, land and farm, and residential real estate. Experienced realtors with an up-to-date website at tcirealty.net. TCI Realty supports the students of WEIU Newswatch.